Welcome, everybody, to episode 5 of the FoxCast. Today, we have a very, very special episode for everybody. So, little did we know, today was not supposed to be a guest host-based podcast, but that is what we'll be getting today. So, I will introduce our guest in just a moment. But first off, let's introduce the main core members of the FoxCast like every week. So, first up, there's me. My name is Doaks. To my virtual left, we have the man who is always spreading the most positive vibes you could ever imagine all throughout Kitsu. Say hello, everybody, Nuvo.
Nuvo no Kyer. I tried.
And to my virtual right, it is a man who you may not know is around because he's always lurking, he's always watching, he's always knowing. But when he does give you something, it will be worthy of your time. Say hello to everybody, Dyna.
Hello, everyone.
And our special guest host today, it's none other than the mastermind and co-creator of Kitsu itself, the CEO of the website. It is Josh. Say hello to everybody, Josh.
What's going on, guys?
It was a huge surprise to have him here. So we're going to be covering a variety of things. It's going to be a little less of the normal structure. It's going to be pure interview structure on Josh and questions from him, and he'll ask us questions if he wants to. And other than that, it's just going to be a fun discussion between him and us. Hopefully, between the creator and the people who use his website, it'll be informative for everybody listening. All right, so let's get going, guys.
So, let's get into it. Let's dive into it. Just tell us about yourself. Like, how did you grow up, childhood? Did you like school? 'Cause I didn't fucking like school. So, did you like school? General facts about yourself?
Yeah, let me give you the Cliff Notes. So, basically, I grew up in a farm town. Right outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I was adopted by a white family, and I was kind of like the only, or one of the only, colored people, like in the whole town. So, growing up, I wasn't exactly feeling it. I didn't really love it.
Right.
But, as I got older, I kind of came into my own, right? In the sense of, like, having friends and kind of fitting in. But, in, like, grade school, like 7, 8, 9, I was a fucking nerd. I had no friends. But, yeah, so fast forward a bit. I moved out of my parents' house at 16, started living on my own. Mm-hmm. I dropped out of high school my senior year. And then I had a couple years of just being super poor while I taught myself web design. And that eventually led to me getting a job in Chicago as a lead designer at a startup.
Cool.
We sold that startup to a company called Groupon. And then I was lead designer of Groupon stores for a couple years. And now I'm at Kitsu.
Nice.
That's an amazing backstory. Thank you for sharing that.
Right on. I believe Groupon is, I think they're partnered with part of WordPress now, too, if I remember correctly.
I don't think. They're, like, publicly traded. They're pretty huge.
Yeah, well, because I know WordPress has it's for that, like, you can make your, like, profile, something that, like, it's like your profile is supposed to, like, go all over the internet, and WordPress, I know, is one of the people who's, like, lower that's connected to that, and I think Groupon's also connected to that.
I see.
But you mentioned that you worked at Groupon in Chicago. Did you move there from Pennsylvania?
I did, yeah. So I went to Chicago to learn how to be a back-end developer, which didn't work, by the way. But, while I was there, I started meeting a bunch of the startups that were in the area. And a 3-month trip ended up being a 4-year trip.
Wow.
Wow, I'd say that was very successful.
Yeah, it was fun. I really liked the city. Like, Chicago is probably still my favorite city.
Go Cubs!
It's awesome.
From what I know, like, with Kitsu and everything, you ended up moving back home to Pennsylvania, correct?
I did, yeah. So I'm back in Pennsylvania, pretty close to where I grew up. The cost of living is, like, free. It's like, we'll give you money to live here. Like, no one wants to be there. So they're like, fucking, please stay. Like, what does it take to stay here? So the cost of living is super cheap, and that's great, on account of not having any money, because Kitsu is my nightmare.
Draining you.
Yeah, I mean, it's really cheap where I live at, too, because my parents are actually originally from Illinois, and the cost of living up there is outrageous.
Yeah. I mean, if you think that's bad, though, check out San Francisco.
I cry.
Jeez.
Dyna.
I cry so much.
It's okay, I'm going to Canada. It should be cheaper up there. Well, no, actually, it's not.
Yeah, but healthcare, though. What's up, healthcare?
That's true.
Yeah. Healthcare, man.
Mm-hmm. They take a lot of taxes, but they do give you free healthcare.
Yeah.
God bless them.
I would live there. I would live in Canada. Like, for real, I would happily move to Canada.
I'm like at the headquarters of Kitsu. Let's do it. Come on. Let's go.
Maybe.
Let's go.
I know we have, like, a pretty big user base in Canada, I think. And there's, like, the added benefit of, like, no Trump.
I know. Is that?
Definitely. All right. So my question for you is that oftentimes you mention that you're an advocate of the whole less is more. and how you're famous or infamous for the quote, options are the devil. So what is your mindset behind that? What led you to think that way?
Yeah, so I know that drives people crazy. Like, I know that it does. So basically, I had planned on, like, writing, like, a blog post at some point explaining why options are the devil. So I could, like, link that to people when they were like, what the fuck are you talking about? But I'm, like, really, really bad at doing the things I say I'm going to do. So I didn't do it, guys. It's not done.
Soon.
So let me explain it now. So basically, I don't think options are a bad thing necessarily. I just think that they can be a very dangerous thing. So when I say options are the devil, it's like anytime you talk about, like, let's add an option, I want to think of it like you're making a fucking deal with the devil right now, right? Like, this can fuck you later, so you need to really think about if this is worth doing. Because what I found is, like, a lot of time it's like, whenever the idea of, why don't we just add an option for it comes up, it's because we're looking at a difficult problem, and that's the easiest answer for the problem. So it's like, oh, shit, we're making... like this streamlined thing with a very distinct purpose. Where do we fit this in at, right? Like, where do we fit it in so it looks like it was meant to be there? And then when the answer isn't really clear, we're like, why don't we just fucking glue it to the ceiling? Right? So just like, it's just options, just they add so much overhead and technical debt that you have to maintain moving forward, and you have to, like, force users to learn them, right? So, like, I mean, even like rating systems, right? So we have 3 rating systems currently, which is, like, in my opinion, too many. But we now have to support those, right? So, one thing we're releasing is I guess, I don't know if this will be out by the time you hear this or not, but basically we have this thing that's going to be on library pages, and it'll tell you how many of your completed shows don't have a rating yet. And then you click that, and it'll pop up a little thing. You can easily rate everything. So that's great. But what's not great is that Vivix has been working on the code for that. And because we have 3 different rating systems, he has to do 3 times the work we normally would. Oh. So anytime we add an option, we have to continue to support that option moving forward, and it just always adds more work for us. So there are just so many reasons why options are just not a good answer. And that's why, like, if we are going to have an option, I want to make sure that it, like, stands up to criticism before we actually add it. And we're not just adding it because it's the easiest thing to do right now.
So you're always looking at the long-term effects of what an option could do for not only your team just developing it, but how it actually implements into the website too.
Yeah, it's just like, I feel like the more things you add, the further you get away from, like, a distilled idea, So it's like, all the best things are very simple to explain. So it's like, YouTube, upload your videos and watch videos. Twitter, post status updates, so they're very simple ideas, and that simplicity leads to flexibility, right? So that's why I want to keep Kitsu a simple product in terms of, like, functionality, and then users can do what they need to make it their own. Instead of having all these options for all these specific scenarios, I want it to be very simple and very powerful.
It's a very good answer. Definitely makes lots of sense. Just that other thing is, have you ever considered, similar to Tumblr, how they do the whole custom HTML designs? Has that ever been brought up to you sometime?
Yeah, so I'm, like, vehemently against that. I know that, like, a lot of users want it, and they like that, like, My Anime List, for example, allows you to customize what your profile looks like. But to me, I see it as, like, some users are going to, like, kick ass, right? Like, they're going to be awesome. And, like, the things they do are going to be like, why don't you have my job? Like, the shit you're doing is incredible. But that's, like, 5 users out of 10,000, right? The other 9,995, the stuff they're making is dog shit. Like, nobody wants to look at it. It's like, it sounds harsh, but it's true. Like, it's like, the stuff you're making, it's ugly to look at, So it's just like, do I want to force users to kind of wade through all of these shitty profiles for that one occasional profile that's really awesome? And the answer is not really, Like, all of our users aren't web designers. They have ideas on something that looks cool, but, like, they're wrong. A lot of time they're wrong. Like, what the fuck do you want me to say? So it's just like...
Right.
It looks shitty. You should feel bad. Don't do it. I see it a lot like MySpace versus Facebook, right? Where it's just like, yeah, like, my MySpace profile was dope as hell, right? You came to the profile. I know I had some kind of rap song playing when you hit it. I had some sparkly skeletons dancing around. And I thought it was insane. I thought it was awesome. But I was also young as hell. And if I looked at that now, I'm just like, Jesus, what was I thinking? And I feel like that's how it is now for a lot of users. It's like they want this customization to like express how unique and different they are, etc. But like, give them a year, give them 2 years, they look back at it and they're like, what the fuck was I thinking? This is so bad. So this kind of lets you keep things simple and focus on the content and not like the wallpaper.
It's kind of deep.
Yeah, I've always really enjoyed this. It was a teaching mechanic one of my law enforcement teachers taught me back when I was in high school. It's called KISS, and it's Keep It Simple Stupid.
Yeah.
Because things that are simple are easy to understand, and you don't have to learn it as much. Like, for instance, I'm a WordPress user. That's not simple at all, and it's very un-user-friendly. And if you're trying to develop a website, I think having something that is user-friendly is more attractive for someone to want to use in the long term.
Yeah, totally. So, like, instead of having, like, customization like that, I'd rather give users the ability to, like, have a consistent way of showing how they're unique, right? So stuff like statistics, I want to bring statistics back. We're actually, like, so Toy Hammer has been working really hard on getting statistics out the door. But, like, that's one of the things where it's, like, it's not, like, a song playing in the background in, like, a yellow background with white text, right, to show how different you are. It's, like, here's how you're actually different. Here's what your behavior says about you. And then things like favorite characters.
Impossible to read.
Right. But, like, favorite characters, shit like that. So I want to give users tools to stand out and make their profiles unique and insight into who they are. But I don't want to give these vanity things that make the whole experience of using the site worse.
That's a good answer.
Now, of course, we're at Kitsu now. Where did the name for Hummingbird come from? Like, how did you come up with Hummingbird, and what was the inspiration for that?
You haven't heard.
Everyone just told me Josh has a great story about it. But that's all they told me.
We need to know the story. Tell us the story.
Yeah, I mean, it's very simple. It's one sentence. A hummingbird saved my life. And
For real?
Yeah, and I had to repay the debt.
Okay.
So what's the context to that, if you don't mind us asking?
Yeah, that's very vague. You got to dive deep.
That's it. I'll only tell the users the full story there whenever they've used the site longer than I have.
That'll be a while, I assume, if that ever does happen.
Yeah, so there it is. Something for you guys to chew on for a while.
I'm still chewing. I was already chewing on that. Now my jaw is getting tired.
You just gave me something to chew on right now for the entire podcast.
No, honestly, all right.
Damn.
I'm gonna make this. I'm gonna come clean right now. So that's a story I've been saying forever, right? When people ask me that, I just totally made that up. Hummingbird did not save my life.
Okay.
So the real reason I went with Hummingbird was because I don't like the way that anime is currently portrayed in the U.S. and I don't like I don't like that, like, it's embarrassing to talk about anime in public. It's fucking stupid to me.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
But, like, we do it to ourselves, though. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of, like, us, a lot of our people are awkward as fuck. And we do weird-ass shit, and it kind of, like, hurts the way we look as a group. And, you know, whenever, like, I was thinking about this idea of, like, okay, so what do I want to call this thing? I want it to be something that where it's, like, it doesn't have this, like, douchey name where, like, it's a
my
cringy
anime list.
Yeah, it's just, like, it's just stupid, and it kind of boxes you in, too. So
Exactly.
I wanted something that was, like, didn't mean anything. We can make it our own brand, and it's something you could talk about in public, and it's not, like, super anime awesome collectors or anything, like, weird or dumb. So I just wanted it to be general and clean and simple. And hummingbird.ly was available. So I bought the domain name. And that's it. That's the only reason. I thought it was a simple name. I liked that it was one word and it was easy to brand around. And I liked that it wasn't like a douchey, kind of nerdy, stupid name, because I think the big goal is to get anime to the point that gaming is at now, right? Because, like,
Right.
if you go back 10 years and 15 years even more so, and you look at gaming, it was not this cool thing that people are doing on TV. And it wasn't this cool thing that girls wanted to hang out with dudes that were gamers, right? It was nerdy as hell to do. Mm-hmm. Like, if you were a gamer, you were in your mom's basement, you were playing games, you had no social life, you had no career, and that's how the society saw gamers. But now that's on its head entirely, right? Gaming is cool as fuck. And then same deal with, like, board games and shit too. It's just like, board games used to be super nerdy, but now it's like people's moms are going to board game nights. And people are watching Game of Thrones on TV. And that, like, would have never happened 10 years ago. right? Where it's like this public, everyone and their mom is watching Game of Thrones, and it's this high fantasy show. So I want to get anime there, right? I want to get to the point where it's like everyday fucking people are like, oh yeah, I did check that anime out and it was dope. And not like this, oh, you watch Japanese cartoons all day kind of thing.
That is a wonderful backstory.
Yeah, it's still a hard thing for me to explain because, people are like, so where did you meet your girlfriend? I'm like, I met her on an anime site. And they're like, wait, what is anime? And I'm like, oh, okay, so how do I explain this to you to where you're not going to be condescending to the idea of what it is?
Yeah. And it's hard, right? I do think we're getting there, though. Like, we're seeing, like, big players enter the game. So we have, like, Netflix stepping in, Amazon stepping in, and we got, like, the Ghost in the Shell movie, which, like, I get it. The movie wasn't great, but it's fucking progress, right? Mm-hmm. Like, we're so quick to shit on, like, Hollywood stepping in and forget that we're hurting ourselves by doing that, right?
Same thing said about the Death Note adaptation as well.
Yeah, so it's just like, okay, maybe it's not going to be great for us as, like, fans of the original. And that's fine, but let's not shit on it so hard that we, like, hurt the image of it online as a whole, because it just pushes people away from this brand and this industry. And that hurts the entire industry, right? So just, like, look at comic books. Like, comic books were doing not great up until all of the like, Marvel movies started blowing up. And now comic books are bigger than they've been for a long time. So it's just like, yeah, the movies are always going to cater to the bigger demographic. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times they're not going to be true to the source because they don't understand the source or they don't think it'll resonate well with a mass audience, whatever. But they're still giving love to our industry, and we should respect that.
And it ends up having a chain of events, too, where once those things become successful, then lots of other stuff gets brought over, and then those get made faithfully by some people, and then we get to enjoy everything.
Right.
Exactly. So that's kind of my beef with, like, why, like, I think anime could be mainstream, but the entire industry is hurting that. No, I mean, not everyone, but, like, I mean, we know the usual suspects, right? And it's kind of my same feeling for, like, if you look at, like, shit like Avatar, The Last Airbender, and Korra, where everyone's like, I mean, not on Kitsu, but, like, elsewhere, they're like, oh, that's not anime. Yeah. And it's just like, it's so fucking dumb. Like, listen to yourself right now. Like, you're arguing about what is and isn't a fucking cartoon. Shut up. Like, this is a gateway for people. Like, so many people, they're going to start here. They're going to say, oh my god, I loved Avatar. What's next? And we should be there. Like, we should be excited for these guys. We should be like, holy shit, I can't wait for you to check out Cowboy Bebop. I can't wait for you to check out fucking Gurren Lagann. We shouldn't be like, that's not anime. Go away. I fucking hate that. It like, drives me nuts. So, like, that's why I want stuff like that on Kitsu, is because, okay, maybe it's not true anime, but it's still a start, And that's what we need, because we're not going to be dedicated anime fans forever, and we need to kind of keep this alive.
Branching off that just a little bit, like you mentioned the shows that are that they debate, such as Avatar and Ruby. How about other shows that you also have on the site, such as Steven's Universe, that you have it as labeled anime influenced? Do you have like the same kind of feeling for those shows as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's obviously like, it's obviously like a gray area, right? Where it's not like a very definite line in the sand, but like for shit like Steven Universe and like Samurai Jack, it's like, it's so close and it takes so many cues from the anime industry that like, it's not a big leap of faith for someone to go from one of those shows into something similar, right? That is true anime.
Yeah, so simple way to put this in layman's terms, there's no black or white cartoons and anime. Just mix the shit together and make it all great, because it's all part of the same fun experience.
Yeah. And it's like, I know that a lot of the debate is around like, oh, well, how do you define it? Like, how do you define anime?
Why do you need to?
And it's just like, I feel like it's so dumb. Like, shut up. Like, that's all I want to say is because it's just like, I don't know. To me, it's like being like, oh man, I love this girl, right? At any point in your life, you say, I'm in love with this individual. And then instead of someone saying like, oh, that's great, I'm happy for you, they're like, yeah, but how do you define love? Can you put it on paper? Like, why? Why do I need to? Like, I know what I'm feeling. I know I'm really enjoying this. I'm enjoying this way of storytelling. I'm enjoying these like, the detail put in the animation and the way the comedy is done. Whatever it is, like, why does that need to be defined? Like, why can't you just say, oh shit, you liked that, then you're gonna love this? And that's how I think it should be.
It really should, and I wish people really had your outlook on these topics, but sadly people don't. They just don't. I'm gonna switch gears just a little bit. So I'm going back into like the site and how I just want to know, early on, did you even think about creating this type of site, or what was your mindset of even wanting to create this type of social, event or community that we have now? What type of mindset you had of?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I didn't really have a mindset. It's kind of just the kind of thing that it took a life of its own and just started evolving. Because in the beginning, this was just supposed to be a recommendation engine to make it easier to find something new to watch. So the idea then was just around discovery. And that has remained the idea the whole way through, right? Is how do we make it easy to discover new content? Because that was a problem I had, because I didn't really have friends that were seriously watching anime that I could ask to for suggestions or just talk about a show. But over time, we started to see more and more that people were talking to each other, right? And I wanted to make that easier. And then of course, we have so many great people in the team. They have a huge impact on product as well. So it's just I never want to say this is just my vision, because it's not, right? It's a part of my vision. And I think a lot of the time I'm the one that's ruffling the most feathers. But if I didn't have Vikiat, the guy that I started this with, who has since moved on to bigger, better things, and also Nuck and Vivix and Matt and Toy Hammered and Wopian and so many people that have contributed to this over time, we won't be anything, right? This probably won't even exist anymore. So it's just I don't want to take credit for all of it, because honestly, it wouldn't be shit without everyone, even the community, right? The people that were super active and the people that are super active now, they're a huge part of this too. I can't tell you, back whenever we were Hummingbird, before we got funding to do this full time, I can't tell you how many times I looked at how much I was paying just to keep the site up, and because we were making no money. And it's just a couple hundred every month. And I was I remember thinking at one point, why am I doing this? These guys don't give a shit about what we're doing here. Because sometimes the community can be really mean, and that
No kidding.
would it get under my skin? Not so much anymore, but
early on,
earlier on, especially when I had just had a lot going on, in my personal life too, and I just felt no one really cared, and those that did care were leaving the platform, and on so many occasions I just thought I should just pull the plug, right? My life would be simpler if I just killed this now. So if it wasn't for the handful of really great people that stuck with me during that time, this would be dead. Cybrox, who isn't very active anymore, he was a huge part of that. So yeah, I didn't have an exact mindset or vision other than discovery, and then that vision keeps growing and becoming more ambitious the more we go along.
I just want to say, first off, thank you, God, for not saying fuck this site, because it's such a great connective thread, because it's a family base more than an anime social site. So I just want to thank you so much for sticking with it, because it's working. It's working. It's working.
Yeah. And I'm excited about what we have in store too. Hope you guys stick around. Everyone listening, I hope you guys stick around. And don't be afraid. So even though I said the community can be mean, that doesn't mean I don't want to hear feedback, right? I do want to hear what you guys have to say, and that's I have much thicker skin now than I did then. If you're Josh, I fucking hate the way you did this, that's fine, right? To me, it's great because you're at least passionate enough to say, I hate this, right? If it gets to the point where we launch something that people don't like and they don't say anything at all, it's over, right? No one cares anymore. So the fact that people are still getting pissed off or still getting really happy or whatever about updates and changes and new feature releases, that's a really good sign to me, because it means people still care.
Definitely.
Yeah, with every day the website just grows, more users join, and every day it evolves more on its own, just from the community itself. And that's just great.
Yeah, I agree.
The new library system was one of my favorite things they implemented. That was great. I really loved how they just overhauled the whole thing.
Yeah, that was a lot of work.
You mentioned before about how you want to almost give up on the site, and I can see that as a huge mental blow, but what other adversities and setbacks did you experience during the development process, and how was the development process? Was it slow? Did you have to devote specific amount of time every day developing it? What was that like?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's kind of been stop and go over the last couple of years. So in the beginning, when it was me and Vikiat, we were moving very quickly, and we were iterating and changing things and breaking things very fast, because it was kind of fresh and new, and kind of just a relationship, right? Where it's you have this honeymoon phase where I fucking love what we're doing so much here. I never want this to stop. And so like that phase, it was like everything was so fast. But then after he left and we open sourced the platform and like Peter came on board and, or excuse me, not his real name's Peter. I just fucking doxed him. I think that's public knowledge.
Hopefully.
If it's not, it is now.
Exactly. The word is out.
Yeah, we can cut it.
I can bleep that, or if you want.
No, it stays.
It stays.
It stays.
It stays. Do not cut it out.
But also, Vivek's joining, like, that's whenever things started to pick up again. But, like, for a while, during Hummingbird, it was kind of just, like, on pause, right? Because I'm not a developer. I'm just, like, a designer and a resident troll. So, for me, like, my hands were almost tied, right? I couldn't get things done. And I didn't want users to give up on us, so I kept saying, like, soon, right? And that's when I became famous.
So that's where the soon came from. Okay.
Yeah, so I just, users would be like, hey, when's this getting fixed? When are we getting this feature? And I'd be like, okay, well, we're planning on doing that soon. I didn't know when. I had no idea. We didn't have a developer.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I think it became, it did become a bit of a meme, which I embraced. But yeah, so that was like kind of tough then. And now we're at a point where, this is our job. So this is what we do all day, every day. It's very different now because it's like, it's not the same honeymoon kind of phase, even though it's our job, because like, we're not working on whatever the hell we want to work on anymore. We have like serious things that need done for potential partnerships we have lined up, as well as like certain bugs that are like huge issues that need fixed, but users don't realize like how badly things could go wrong if we don't fix them right now. For that reason, like, yeah, there are days where it feels like a job, and we're like, fuck, like I'd rather play a video game right now.
Right.
But I love my job, right? I love that I have the opportunity to build this, and I love that like a part of my job is talking with people about fucking anime.
Cheers to that.
So yeah, the process has definitely changed a lot over time, and obviously we've had like a lot of setbacks, right? In terms of like developers leaving, in terms of like things just breaking and taking a long time to fix. So yeah, that's kind of how things have changed.
When you decided to, as we call V3 or Kitsu, rebrand the site, how did you come up with the change for that name instead? And how did it feel changing the original name of the site, kind of building a whole new like landscape for how the website would run? Yeah,
it's funny. So it was actually Nuck that came up with the name Kitsu. I was actually really pushing for the name Sumo. I wanted to call it Sumo and have like a little fat sumo dude as our mascot.
Aww.
But like everybody hated it. Like
I would have sided with that. That's hilarious.
I thought it was kick ass, but like everyone was against it. They're like, Josh, you're so dumb. Please stop. And then Nuck, he suggested Kitsu, and I think everyone at that point agreed that was the one. Then in terms of like building out, like actually building out Kitsu, that was a dream come true, right? Because it was like, we got this funding to work full time on the site, and then it became this thing of like, this is my chance to really take this to where I always wanted to, right? Because to build like a social platform like what we have, like where we have these really advanced activity feeds and notification system, that's not easy or simple. So to do that when we were working like nights and weekends, that wouldn't have really been possible. But now working full time, like the sky's the limit. So knowing that like we can build this into like whatever the hell we want to, that's a dream come true. So like that's been awesome, and it still is awesome. And I'm so excited for like the kind of many directions that we kind of see this going above and beyond what it is today.
Up and beyond. I've ever since Kitsu's been up for, what is it now? Been about 7 months, 8 months now.
Yeah, 6 or 7 months, I think.
Because I know it was, I think you launched it in December of 2016, if I remember correctly, for at least the beginning users who decided to go for it. Like, and I know I was one of them. There was a kind of a lull period for like the first month, but ever since then, there's been consistent improvements and updates, and the site is really, if you saw it like for how it was at the end of Hummingbird and the start of Kitsu to where it is now, it's been consistent. Like, you can see that there's an idea there that you're trying to go towards.
Yeah. So like, I feel like users forget that a lot of the time. Like, I feel like they look at Kitsu and they're like, oh, well, I missed this from Hummingbird. And then, like, I show them screenshots of what Hummingbird was, and they're like, oh, okay. Like, they forget. They're like, oh, okay, it actually was really bad. It's kind of like the nostalgia thing, right? Where you're like, you think of one of those shows as a kid where you're like, that was awesome. Like fucking Power Rangers. But then you go back and watch it and you're like, this is really, really bad. Because your brain kind of tricks you. And that's how Hummingbird was compared to Kitsu.
It's so bad it's good.
Right.
Oh, I know. I'm just nostalgic as we was talking about. So, because we talk about Power Rangers, I'm just humming the Mighty Morphin theme song right now. So anyway, I know I'm weird as fuck.
But you got an outfit and everything on.
I'm like, dun-dun-dun.
He's like, hang on, I'm changing clothes. Give me a second.
Nova, you're the Black Ranger.
Yeah,
right?
I got to be the Black Ranger. I can't be the White Ranger and then scream like white power and shit. I can do it.
Or is it like the Green Talkies? Are you the Green Ranger?
Yeah, there you go.
Dog, you know the Green Ranger was the White Ranger though, right?
Shh, don't tell him.
Tommy was my favorite Ranger. I didn't really.
Yeah, he was a boss.
Tommy was the shit. I didn't give a fuck about the rest of the Rangers. If Tommy wasn't in the episode,
what? Did you just diss on Kimberly?
Yeah,
just
fuck Kimberly.
Wow, this is done. I'm hanging up.
You ruined it. You ruined everything, Nuvo, with your Power Ranger bias.
I ain't got no hate on Kimberly. She was bae to a certain extent, but I don't know. I just think Kimberly.
Just stop it before you ruin everything. Just
okay, all right. So before I fuck this up, so just tell us about like how did you grow into love of the medium? Like, what's your favorite anime series? Because I am interested in that, and just like give me a little bit of insight on that.
Yeah. As you guys now know, I was a huge fucking nerd growing up, with no social skills. Like I'm sure many of us listening were or are. Woo! It's never too late, guys. So Dragon Ball Z, I think like many people, was like a big part of my primer, as well as like Outlaw Star and Tenchi Muyo. Like those were like my big three, I think. But Dragon Ball Z especially, like I'd like go to like the local like park with one of my friends who was also weird as hell. And we would pretend to be Saiyans. And I'm not talking about like we're just like hanging out, like pretending like we got tails. I'm talking like we were like powering up and like screaming at the top of our lungs. Nice. And we were like running with our hands behind our back, making like air sounds. So I think that was like my primer into it. And like, after that I kind of made friends with some people that were like older. And they kind of introduced me to hentai.
What a jump from Dragon Ball Z to titties.
Yeah, so it was like, I don't know, it was like 9 or 10-year-old me with like 14, 15-year-old anime fans. And they're like, okay, you gotta check out Ninja Scroll and you gotta check out La Blue Girl. And I was like, dang, so it's like this? And then I was hooked.
Got my action, I got my breast. Man, what more? This is why anime needs to be everywhere.
I got it all.
Yeah. I'm saying. So that was kind of the start for me, and my love for it, really.
I honestly did not expect that at all, but that is a wonderful story.
Though?
Thank you for telling us.
That was a switch up.
Yep, they ruined me young.
Oh my god.
So, it's obvious that you've accomplished many great things with Kitsu and all. What do you feel personally that was your greatest accomplishment with it? What do you feel, what feature or like what action that you did that you felt most proud of?
That's a tough one. So, I mean, I think that like the biggest accomplishment, if we're going like on paper kind of shit, is almost definitely like just the fact that we raised enough money to work on this full time while keeping control of the company, right? So, as you guys probably know, or should know, we have two investors, Viz Media and Bernard Chong, and they each own 15% of Kitsu, but we control the rest. So it's still our ship to sail, so to say, and I think that's a pretty great thing, right? So like I can still like make my bad jokes that are kind of inappropriate, and it doesn't really affect anything because it's ours, right? So I think that's like the biggest on paper accomplishment. But I think the most impactful and the one that's most meaningful to me personally is honestly like the handful of like couples that I've met through Kitsu and are like kind of moving forward with their relationship like in a serious way.
Cheers to that.
Like to me, that's like humbling. It's like holy shit. Like what I've done means something. Like these people would have never met, if I hadn't spent 90 hours sitting on my underwear trying to make an anime website. So like that to me, like that's incredible. And Doaks, you're one of them. So
yeah, I mean, I sit here every day thanking the sweat from your groin for the amazing. Well, I mean, jokes aside, like what I have with my life, it's really changed my life in a huge positive way, as is the website in general. And when I signed up for Kitsu, all I was intending was to track anime occasionally, and it's become one of my biggest social things. And I met who's now my best friend and girlfriend through it, and we're in the process right now of figuring out how to get me to immigrate to live with her. And I mean, there's only one place I can thank that for, and it's this website that I didn't even know that was a figment of my imagination, a possibility to ever happen. It's, I don't know, it's yeah, no, I mean, because I've known a few couples who have not made it through, but a few couples who are like myself who are succeeding, and it's really, I don't know, it's wild to me. I just never, it was never on my radar as a thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's awesome. And like, obviously that wasn't like our goal setting out. Right. It's like, hey, let's hook up, weebs. But a big part of like what we do want to do is connect people, right? Like we want anime fans to be able to connect with one another. So like, that's like the truest form of it, right? Where it's like you connected to the degree where you're like, let's fucking be a couple, right? Like, let's take this beyond just being friends. Like that's, to me, that's incredible. And I realize that like, it's not the kind of thing where we can like take credit for it any more than like, oh, I met my wife at this bar. Like that bar can't be like, hey, like we hook people up, But like the fact that it's happened not once, not twice, but like 4 times now, like to me, that's just like, holy shit, like we're onto something here in terms of connecting people. Like I think that like if we keep going the way we're going, we have a really compelling way of helping anime and manga fans really connect with one another and chat with one another. Yeah,
the community connection in general, not just with me and my girlfriend's named Catherine, if the users weren't aware. That alone is a really cool one, but like both Dyna and Nuvo now I've known Nuvo for about 2, and I've known Dyna was one of the very first users I ever met on the website. He's one of the people who helped me actually want to get active on the website, and I still to this day can thank him for that. And it's because you created a platform that allowed people to be able to openly express themselves to each other in however way they see fit.
Yeah, so I mean, hopefully we can keep doing that, right? And we get better at doing that. But yeah, so for me, like those are the biggest in terms of accomplishment.
That's awesome. Tinder is totally your third secret investor, aren't they? I'm just kidding.
Not yet. We're working on it. Not yet.
Now you said Viz, and I'm familiar with Viz, but who's the other one, and what do they do? Are they also in the anime business?
No, so they're in gaming. Bernard Chung. Okay. So he runs a couple like gaming studios. He's something of an angel investor, where he's not like investing like as a VC firm. He's more of a wealthy entrepreneur who like believes in what we're doing and wants to be a part of it.
Well, thank you, Bernard. I love you.
Me too, Bernard. I also love you.
We love Bernard. We love you. So before we switch up, Cap, French maid, best couple on Kitsu. I said it now. Fight me. Anyway, so I gotta ask. I gotta ask the creator. So, what is your future plans like moving forward and like goals in life? Tell me. I need to know your godly plans. I need to know.
Honestly, I have no idea.
I know,
Best
right?
answer, honestly.
Thumbs up.
Like, I'm not gonna like bullshit you and be like, I'm gonna do this. I don't know. So like, I know like my goals. Like, I want to win.
Winning,
right? I want to shit on our competition.
Yes. Fuck.
So like, I want to take out my anime list.
Fuck Mel. Yeah.
And then go above and beyond that. But like, in terms of like, for me career-wise, and it's just like, I don't know, like beyond like, for me, I'm living like day to day, week to week, and I'm like, okay, what are our immediate challenges and how do we kind of overcome them? So I don't know, like my anime list is like, they're the big guy in the block, and I don't think they're doing anything particularly innovative or ambitious or risky. I feel like they're kind of just sitting there profiting off of their users. And there's like, I don't know. There's basically like no idea of community.
No, not there at all.
From from the people running the platform, right? Like there's definitely community within my anime list. I'm not going to say there isn't. Like there's a lot of like great aspects of the community that I really love about my anime list. But like if you look at the people that are running the platform, like genuinely running it, they have control over what happens there. they're nowhere to be found.
Exactly.
Like,
I found that shit's very fucking
it's
weird.
just different. So it's just like, I don't know. They're very big. They're big company, kind of corporate. They're owned by DNA, the same company that does like Rage of Bahamut and shit like that. But like, they're just not doing anything particularly different or innovative or unique. So for me, like, my immediate plans for the future is either beat them or force them to play my game. And my game is, let's switch shit up. Let's make things different and new and fun. So, I mean, we're scrappy, We're either going to beat everyone else that comes up against us, or we're going to force them to change to beat us.
Ooh, it's war, baby. I love it. It's war, baby. I love it.
I'm feeling the Rocky feel there.
Yes. Oh my God. I feel it. Where's my glove at? Let's punch somebody.
It's like Rocky versus Apollo Creed, and
Yes.
Apollo's like, I don't need to fix anything. It's not broken. I'm fixing it. And Rocky's like, man, I'll show you. I just want to go to distance.
Exactly. Oh my God. I love it.
And I mean, so here's the thing: is I could be totally wrong, right? Like about like a lot of the ideas that I kind of push, with Kitsu and with the way we approach our community and the social aspect. I'm not saying I'm right. I don't know that I'm right. A lot of times I just do shit because it feels right, and our team like also, they also feel that it feels right, and like I'm okay with being wrong. Let's say that we launch a feature. I thought it was going to be great. It fucking sucks. Nobody likes it. I'll own that, and I'll say sorry, and we'll fix it. But, like, nice. I don't know. If we're not changing things up and we're not trying new things, then what the fuck's the point? Like, right. why don't you just use my anime list then? Like, if you want what already exists somewhere else, go use that. But I want to keep changing things. I want to make it unique and new, and I don't want to stop at, like, anime or manga. Right? I want to keep going and have, like, drama and visual novels and shit like that. So I just feel like too many people are like caught up on like, hey, what's the number one guy doing? Should we do exactly that? But like at that point, like, why? What is the point? You're just wasting your time. They're already doing that. So I kind of just want to switch things up and try new things. And if that's not what you want, then you probably shouldn't be here. Go somewhere else. I'm not trying to make this for everybody,
Right. Oh my God. I fucking love our creator. Oh my God. I love you. Oh my God.
It's something I like, because you call him creator, and part of that like the prefix of that word, create, of creativity. He's clearly pushing creativity as like the essence of what he wants Kitsu to be. He wants to put his creativity into making it the very best that he thinks it can be.
Yes.
Will it be the best? I don't know. He doesn't fucking know, but he's gonna try.
Yeah, and that's the point, And I think that's the reason that like Nuck and Vivix are insanely talented developers, and I think they feel exactly that same way. Right? I can't put words in their mouth, of course, but.
I would. I do it all the time with my friends.
But it's the kind of thing where, like, they're not getting paid shit, right? We have enough money to work full time, but, like, we're not, like, taking bathtubs and money, right? Like, this is, like, they're getting, like, part-time at fucking Walmart kind of pay, So, like, what they're doing is because, like, they believe in the idea, right? They believe that, like, what we're building is gonna matter and be meaningful and impactful. And that's why, like, I'm so happy to be working alongside them. And to have them to help me with all these different ideas and different things to do, as well as to like be my sanity test, right? So they're like, Josh, that's fucking dumb. You need to stop.
That is truly inspirational. And you speak of like making these creative changes, and so I just want to bring up a new question to you: is how difficult or easy was it to make these big decisions on the website, such as your, as of now, not released review system? Do you make changes based on what your entire team thinks, or what you think is best for the community?
Yeah. So I think as anyone who's like been present for like our internal discussions has seen, I'm very, very impulsive. What generally happens is I come to the team with an idea that I'm very excited about, and I try to sell them on it. What they'll do is they'll kind of pick holes in it and kind of tear it down. And if it can stand up to that scrutiny, then generally we move forward with it. I don't often make changes or updates based on the community's wishes. Sometimes, but usually no, just to be totally honest. So there's a pretty famous quote that's often attributed to Henry Ford. And that quote is, if I had asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses.
I always like that quote too. It's a good one.
Love it.
It's kind of this idea that like I do care what the community thinks, and I do care about how the community reacts, but I don't trust the community to be able to articulate that into words.
Right.
And like also it's like, okay, so we're at 150,000 users now.
Right.
We're going to be at 400,000 but in like a month, just based on some shit that's going to be happening very soon. That it's a sneak peek for you.
Nice.
So our community is going to be like fucking doubling, right? So it's just like, okay, so, you know, we have 400,000 people in our community. Like, what am I going to do? Like, fucking go to their house and ask each one of them their opinion? So it's just like, I feel like whenever you're in a position where you do have a community that cares about what you're building, your job as an innovator is to have an understanding of what your users' problems are via like empirical, observational, anecdotal methods. And in absence of that, intuition, right? Like, you should intuitively have an idea and a pulse on your community and say, this is working or this isn't, without having to actually go to your users and say, why isn't this working exactly? Or what exactly are you looking for? Like I should be involved enough to actually know that. And that's kind of how I feel. And when we do things, it's just like, it's not productive for me to go to the community and say, hey guys, what do you think about this feature? Because there's going to be 50% of users being like, yeah, like, fuck yeah, let's do this. And the other 50% are like, no way, that's a horrible idea, let's not do this. And then we'll spend weeks arguing on why we should or should not do this, and nothing gets done. So I personally find it better to just fucking do it. Launch.
It just sounds like our government.
Yeah,
Nothing
it's just
gets
like
done.
nothing gets done. Like, let's just do stuff. It's not that serious, right? It's not like I'm like testing like different chemicals on your fucking kids. You know what I mean? Like, it's a cartoon website. Like, chill out. Like, we're gonna fucking try shit out.
Exactly.
If it works, and like, we're better because of it. If it doesn't work, we learn something. So I like to just push things out that I think intuitively or empirically are going to be better for the community, you know, based on kind of dog fooding it internally with our team. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's the kind of thing where like the community is great for like testing your vision against reality, but they're not great at organizing themselves enough to create a vision, if that makes sense.
It does.
Yeah, no, and people suck at organizing without someone to help them, so you're pretty spot on there. All right, Dyna, anything else on that question you wanted to ask?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, so now we have done everything but one real long question, so the rest is the lightning round.
Oh,
Here
shit.
It's going to be just a variety of small questions, so you don't need to go super in-depth if you don't want to. Just answer the question as simple as you can, and we're going to blitz through these, and everybody buckle up and get ready for the ride. Gun it to 88.
Let's go.
All right, I'm ready.
All right, so first up, who are the staff members who currently work on Kitsu?
Nuck and Vivix full-time, but also Matthew Diaz, Wilpian, Toy Hammered, and a shitload of like contributors that kind of contribute here and there sporadically.
Okay. Are you more of a seasonal or binge watcher with your anime?
I used to be more of a binge watcher, but now I'm more of a seasonal watcher.
Nice.
All right.
Right on.
Does your wife watch anime with you, or do you do it alone? Is it just a solo type of thing for you like other things?
It varies, but recently we watched Boku no Hero together.
Ooh, nice.
Wonderful, yeah, it's something I really want to watch myself. I think you already answered this earlier, but do you consider My Anime List a rival or a friendly competitor?
Rival, yes. Not so much friendly competitor.
Ooh.
Nice.
Another one that I believe he answered earlier as well. Do you see Kitsu reaching as much commercial success as its competitors?
Oh, yeah, bigger. Fuck them.
There you
Hell
go.
yeah. Okay, there we go. All right, out of all the users on the site, who creates your favorite content on all of Kitsu?
Oh, shit. I'd say probably like Kipler and Turnip.
All right, yeah,
Nice.
he is pretty funny. How often do you scroll through Kitsu like a normal user? And when you actually do get around to doing that, do you look at every post, or do you just look at the ones that interest you?
I scroll through the site every day. And I don't look at every post. I just look at like whatever is there while I'm scrolling. But yeah, I'm on the site all day.
Nice.
So I see most of what's posted there. And then I ignore a lot of it if I don't feel like answering.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's only so much you can answer when you're tagged 50 times a day. Probably more than that, honestly. Okay, who is your waifu and why is she the best?
Oh, shit.
Who's
Very
Bay?
important.
Who's Bay?
It's tough. It's tough for me because, like, in a lot of ways, I feel like I haven't found that special woman yet. I feel like I'm still kind of a anime bachelor.
Ah.
But if I had to say one, I would probably say Polo from Spice and Wolf.
Nice pick. Nice pick.
His inner furry is showing to us all.
Kitsu. Makes sense.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Right.
If you could be in any anime, what anime would it be and why? Like an anime world of some sort. It doesn't have to be the actual story.
Okay. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna answer this, but first I have a bone to pick with this question and the way people answer it. It drives me nuts when I see this question around and people are like, "I would be in Dragon Ball," or "I'd be a Dragon Ball Z," as if you'd be a fucking Saiyan. Come on, you'd be like a cashier, dog. Like, be real,
Right.
You'd be that farmer who gets fucked over by Raditz in episode 1.
Yeah, like, you're not the hero. Come on. So with that in mind, with that context, I think if hentai's allowed, and it should be, I would be in that one. So there's the one hentai where, like, people that have allergies.
Okay.
It's like your allergies are, like, manifested as, like fucking girls and shit.
I
don't know. Someone will link it in the comments, I'm sure. But it's basically a hentai, like, about allergies. And instead of, like, being awful, which I have allergies and they suck, instead of being awful, it's bliss, ladies and gentlemen. It's bliss.
Okay.
If hentai isn't allowed, then I would have to pick either something like Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Pokemon.
Okay.
The collected down in those worlds is definitely worth it either way. Although Yu-Gi-Oh! You do have the problem of potentially being asked into a duel and not knowing you're going to be thrown into a shadow game.
Oh, I'm down. Right? I'm so fucking down for that. Card games are my shit. I'm ready. I was actually nationally ranked in Yu-Gi-Oh! By the way, just throwing that out there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was pretty good. Back in the day, I was pretty good.
Okay.
Reminds me back in the day when you used to do Smash tournaments and I got to play against you in the Smash tournament on Hummingbird. That was a lot of fun.
Oh shit, I forgot about that.
I was actually the one that knocked you out of the tournament. I was
know.
Like, oh my god, I destroyed the creator.
I know, and now I'm pissed off and I'm not sending this audio file over to you guys.
Oh no.
Damn it, Cap.
Thanks for reminding me. Good luck with your podcast.
Damn it, Cap.
We can always have a rematch to see if you're up to snuff. I mean, come on.
Just surrender,
down.
Doaks.
I'm down whenever.
Okay, and last one, unless you guys have any other quick questions you want to ask him as well. Are the forums dead forever, or are they coming back?
Oh, forever. They're so fucking dead, guys. They will never come back.
In the grave, as they should be.
There's no chance. No chance of it, I promise you.
To the ground.
All right, Dyna and Nuvo, did you have any other lightning round based questions you wanted to ask before I ask the final big question to him?
I'm good. I have no more questions.
Yep, I'm good too.
All right, so the final one, which is an actual question, not a lightning round. The lightning round has... the skies are clear. Do you have any sneak peeks of any upcoming features that are coming up on the website?
Yeah.
Anything that you can tell us that's like a sneak peek that would be enough to, salivate them a little bit without spoiling the fun.
Yeah, and don't imagine us holding a gun in your head or anything like that.
Well, now I am. Where are you? Are you outside my window right now? So yeah, I mean, I think one feature that we have coming up that is going to be pretty cool is we're going to be like bringing AMAs to Kitsu, where we're going to like bring in like famous mangaka and voice actors and YouTubers and have them like sit down for an hour and just like answer your questions in real time and use this way to suggest people they want us to bring in. So if it's like, oh, I really love the mangaka from like Berserk, for example, if we get enough votes, then we can kind of try to tap our contacts at Viz and, kind of beg with our, like, on our hands and knees and say, hey, please bring this guy. We want to talk to him. And you guys will be able to ask him whatever the hell you want for an hour. And then, of course, like, we'll have a schedule lined up. So I think the goal is to have one influential person a week at the same time every week for you guys to kind of sit down and chat with. So yeah, that's something I'm pretty excited about.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. Being
Awesome.
able to, that's a fun thing. Anybody can just, like, you've always wanted to ask that one question to that creator or voice actor you like and don't have to pay $50 to meet them at a con.
Right.
Okay, so
wait a minute. Hang on. I have a question for you guys.
Oh.
Yeah, shoot.
That's wonderful, because I was going to ask you next if you want to ask us questions.
Oh, yes, shit, I ruined it. Okay, so I have one question for you guys. Mm-hmm. I want each of you to list out the one thing you hate the most about Kitsu.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'll let Dyna go first, because he's usually the one who's the slowest to answer on these sort of things.
I'll just be a gentleman and pass on a Nuvo,
Damn, the pressure is on. Damn. What I hate about...
I already know my answer, so I'm just going to let you two stool.
Okay, I'm gonna pass it to you because I gotta think about it. I gotta think about it, Cap.
All right, I know you guys have mentioned that eventually that there will be an edit history, but I hate that I can't edit my post.
Fair.
I bitch about it all the time too.
So good news is within the next 2 weeks that'll be fixed.
Oh, thank the Lord.
Damn, what do I hate? I really don't know right now.
If you guys can come up with more, I can think of at least one more that I don't like.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm trying to think here.
Now I know you guys are constantly working on technical improvements to make the site run better. The dash itself still has a lot of issues of basically if you go down, I don't know, probably 30 to 35 posts, then it gets very laggy and doesn't load very well at all.
Oh yeah, that fucking sucks.
So that's a big issue. It's not as bad until you come across somebody who has a comment that has 19 YouTube videos that embed into it.
Yeah. So I agree. That definitely sucks. It's something we're actually working on fixing. I don't have a good idea on when, but within the next month is planned.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I know that's a big thing just because it's hard to. I mean, that's a constant thing. Everybody's always posting, so.
Yeah, it's a tricky one, but it's definitely on our list because it's definitely fucking blows.
I think I have one, and I think it has to do with pin posts. I'm not sure if you're allowed to pin a post in your group that you made and not have it pinned onto your profile.
Right. Yeah, you cannot pin posts in groups yet. Cool. Yeah, I agree. That sucks. It's something that we wanted to do it, and to be honest, I totally forgot about it. so it's on my list again.
I mean, I don't blame you. Groups have been very stagnant lately.
Yeah, we're working on that guy.
Everybody begged for him back, and then everybody didn't fucking do a damn thing on him.
Okay, so we got one guy left who hasn't said shit yet.
Okay. No, I actually got one. No. Because I was thinking, I'm like, what the fuck do I hate about the community? So, the thing I don't like is what's up with no private messages? What the fuck is up with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's up with that? Please tell me. We need this.
Yeah, I mean, so it's the kind of thing where I want to build out private messaging in a very sophisticated way. I wanted to have it it's not so much private messaging like you'd have on a forum, but it's Facebook style private messaging where it's a chat. That's what I want to do. The problem is just how long it takes to build that. So we might end up building a very basic, shitty version of that to start, where it's not real-time chat, but it's real private messaging, and then eventually evolve that. But yeah, that's on the roadmap at some point. I don't know when, but it's definitely planned.
Okay. I just need to know. Some things I want to say to certain users, but I don't want to say it out loud. So everybody can see it.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
Guys should have hentai sometimes, right, Nuvo?
Oh my god.
All right, so Josh, was there anything else you wanted to ask any of us individually or us as a podcast or anything?
Nope, that's all I've got, boys.
Now, my question for you is, so that's everything that has to do with Kitsu itself. Is there anything you, as the creator of Kitsu, want to see as in our podcast that we're trying to make the podcast to this website?
I mean, honestly, no. I feel like what you guys have going is good, I think just be consistent about it, if you guys could bang one out every week, that'd be great. But I think just keep being consistent and keep enjoying what you're doing, and I think it'll naturally just continue to grow. But I wouldn't say to do anything different than what you're doing now. I think what you're doing now is pretty great.
Wonderful. The last thing I want you to do, normally I ask people to do this before we record. It slipped my mind. I do recommendations every week. I'm not going to recommend a user this week. Just everybody, if you don't follow Josh and what he's doing on the website, I don't know why you're not, because he's the guy who's going to tell you why your site is getting better.
Exactly.
But what is an anime you would recommend for everybody to go watch and could come back and tell us what they thought about it?
So let me give you one from this season. Kakiguri.
Yes.
The gambling one. It's pretty great.
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay. And before I wrap up everything, anything else pertinent you guys want to talk about or discuss?
I think that's pretty much it.
I think that's it.
Likewise.
All right. So thanks a lot for joining us tonight, Josh. It was really great.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys.
Where can everybody find you across the interweb social media-wise, aside from, obviously, Kitsu and your profile?
I mean, mostly Kitsu, but I'm also on Twitter sometimes at Josh Fabian.
Okay, and is that everything?
That's all.
Okay. Well, everybody, thank you for tuning in for what ended up being a very surprise podcast discussion. We had another topic in mind originally, so that's what we'll be doing next episode. We weren't going to do 2 guest hosts in a row, but when it's the creator of the website that this is designed around, that's kind of like an opportunity you don't...
Screw the rules.
Yeah, screw the rules. Rule of cool, as Dyna would say. Really, thank you for everybody listening. Thank you, Josh, for making a website where we could, meet, talk, and just have fun discussing anime. And for everybody, this is episode 5 of the podcast. I'm Doaks.
Nuvo here.
Hey, I'm Dyna. Thanks for tuning in.
And I'm Josh. I'll see you on Kitsu.
And everybody, wherever you're in the world, have a good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, and see you next time.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.